What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And welcome back to my Should You Pull series, where I give you my opinions of the upcoming banners coming to Dissidia Opera Omnia. In this video we are going to take a look at Kam'lanaut's event banner. And of course we're going to take a look at his kit in this video as well, but before I do start, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's start this video. And of course we'll start this video off with a very familiar EX called the Levitine, or Levitine, whatever you want to call it, for Shantotto. This will give her the EX ability called Divine Malison, which is a 2-hit Magic Brave plus HP attack, which also inflicts the Divine Malison debuff to its targets for 2 turns. Divine Malison basically lowers the fire, thunder, wind, and the holy resistance of her targets. This has a slightly fast recast speed, and at 1 out of 3 increases the damage dealt. At 2 out of 3, this extends the duration of Divine Malison by 2 turns, making it a total of 4 turns, and at 3 out of 3, it will slightly increase the recast speed of Divine Malison. And once you have realized this weapon at 0 out of 3, this will increase its Brave potency and will give it a 120% max Brave overflow, as well as adding the Ice, Water, Earth, and Dark resist down effects to the Divine Malison debuff. Upon taking damage, or when your HP is less than 50%, this will turn Divine Malison to the Rage Divine Malison. This becomes an AoE damage and moderately raising the Brave damage dealt to the single target, and as well as dealing 50% splash damage to non-targets. At 1 out of 3 limit break, this will slightly raise Shantotto's max Brave and attack, and will also instantly fill up her EX gauge. Now at 2 out of 3, when using Divine Malison or the Rage Divine Malison, this will now inflict the Accursed Gaze for 3 turns and grants a Peerless Power buff for 4 turns. This extends the duration of existing buffs by 2 turns as well, and when the quest starts, she will have the Peerless Power buff for 6 turns. Now while she's in Rage and Peerless Power is active, she will have access to the ++ variant of her Brave attack and her HP attack. For her Brave attack ++, this will be a 2-hit Wind Magic Brave attack with increased Brave potency and extending the Rage mode by 6 turns, to a total max of 6. The HP attack ++ will raise her Brave based on her max Brave before a Brave hits, which is a Wind Magic Brave plus HP attack, and the Stolen Brave can overflow to 120% of her max Brave, and this also extends the Rage buff mode for 6 turns. Peerless Power is basically raising her own attack and raising her own max Brave and overflow limit. Finally, at 3 out of 3, when using Divine Malison and Rage Divine Malison, this will now increase the number of Brave hits by 5 and increasing its total Brave potency. Now when you're using the normal Divine Malison, it will deal a 50% splash damage to non-targets, and when you're using the Rage Divine Malison, this will increase the HP splash damage that she would normally do. And the bonus sphere that you are going to be getting with this one is called Break Hit Base Boost Short. When breaking a target or attacking a broken target, this will raise their initial Brave and max Brave by 10% for 3 turns. Okay guys, so after hearing all this information regarding Shantotto's EX Plus, how much should you be investing in her? Now in my honest opinion, there are several ways to actually go about investing on Shantotto. If you are pretty reserved in your resources, I highly suggest go minimum at 1 out of 3 and go for a max of 2 out of 3. However, if you are planning to use Shantotto moving forward to other contents, I highly suggest starting at 2 out of 3 with her. And the main reason for this is not only does her EX gauge actually fills up at the start of the quest, she will have the Peerless Power buff at the start of the quest as well as having access to the ++ variants for her Brave attack and HP attack. And going max here is actually going to be very beneficial to Shantotto, because this is where the number of Brave hits does increase for her EX ability. which I believe is the biggest weakness of her EX ability. Having increased that will make sure you do cap her max brave, as well as having access to the 50% splash damage on the normal variant of her Divine Malison. Of course, the Rage Divine Malison will still do more splash damage, however you do not have to have like someone actually attacking Shantotto before you have access to the Rage version of her EX ability, or you have to have her HP less than 50% in order for you to have access to the Rage variant. It is just something that I don't really like mechanically. So if you are planning to use Shantotto moving forward, I do highly suggest going for max of 3 out of 3 and minimum at 2 out of 3. Now, as for the closest comparisons for Shantotto, basically just mix up all the Imperialers and pretty much you get her. And I think that is the closest comparison I can make. She is just a magic DPS with a very unique mechanic where she has to get attack in order for her to get some rage or get access to like plus variants of her attacks. And that has been fixed to a certain extent, but as for her EX, it still needs she still needs to be attacked or make her HP less than 50% before you actually gain access to it. So for her normal abilities, it has been fixed, but unfortunately for her EX, still needs to get attacked. Okay, now let's move forward to Kam'lanaut's abilities with his passives. We'll talk about his EX a little bit later. We'll start off with his ability 1, which is Frostblade, which is a Ice Melee Brave plus HP attack, which grants him the Wisdom of the Zillart buff for 3 turns, and grants 1 additional stack of his Esoteric Region. When Genesect Impetus is active, it becomes a Glassification, which is going to be a 2-hit Ice Melee Brave plus HP attack with a low chance to inflict paralysis for 1 turn, and it will grant him the Wisdom of the Zillart buff for 3 turns. Wisdom of the Zillart is basically raising his max brave and his attack, while Esoteric Region lowers the enemy's attack and magical attack. Now let's take a look at the C55 passive, which enhances Frostblade. This increases the number of brave hits to 2 and moderately increasing the total brave potency, as well as giving it a 120% max brave overflow limit and extending the duration of Wisdom of the Zillart buff by 3 turns. Now in the Glassification version of this ability, this increases the number of brave hits to 5, and the stolen brave can go up to 150% of his max brave, again increasing the total brave potency as well and extending the duration of the wisdom of the Zillart buff by 3 turns. Now his 15 CP weapon does give it more brave potency and improves the effects of Wisdom of Zillart, and when you're using Frostblade, this will grant 1 additional stack of his Esoteric Region, and when using Glassification and the plus variant of this will increase the success rate of the paralysis. Now let's take a look at his ability 2 called Esoteric Region, which should not really be confused too much with the buff itself, but this basically raises brave based on his attack and will grant 1 stack of Esoteric Region buff for 6 turns with a total of 5 stacks as is max. When Esoteric Region is at 5 stacks, this will remove the buff and grant himself the Genesect Impetus for 4 turns. This is the buff that basically replaces Esoteric Region. When Genesect Impetus is active, this becomes Esoteric Region Plus, and basically increasing his brave based on his attack as well as granting Genesect Impetus for 4 turns. When Esoteric Region or Genesect Impetus is active, this will now inflict Addle on the target for 1 turn after receiving an attack. Genesect Impetus lowers the enemy's attack and the magical attack, as I mentioned earlier with the Esoteric Region. This is just a better version of it. However, the effect is actually removed when he is broken. Addle basically will lower further the attack and magical attack of the enemies that attack Kam'lanaut. Now moving on to his C60 passive, this improves esoteric region overall, moderately raising its brave gain based on its attack, and will actually trigger a 2-hit ice melee brave attack plus HP attack after its use, and the stolen brave can now overflow up to 150% of his max brave and will raise his brave based on 20% of the HP damage dealt. Now this also has a plus variant, basically a better version of it. Instead of a 2-hit ice melee brave attack, this will be a 4-hit ice melee brave attack plus HP attack after use. The overflow will increase to 180% and the brave gain you get is 30% instead of the 20% HP damage dealt. Now, while Esoteric Region is active, he will have access to his plus variant for his Brave attack and his HP attack, which is going to be a 2-hit Ice Melee Brave attack for his Brave attack plus, and will actually grant 1 stack of Esoteric Region. The HP attack plus is a 2-hit Ice Melee Brave plus HP attack, and basically will grant a additional stack of Esoteric Region as well. Now when he does have the improved version of the buff, which is the Genocide Impetus, I think I've been pronouncing this wrong all the way through, but whatever, he will have access to the plus variant of his Brave and HP attack. Now the Brave attack will be a 4-hit Ice Melee Brave attack, increasing the total Brave potency, and when breaking a target or attacking a broken target, this will turn Glassification to its plus variant. This will moderately increase the total Brave potency and moderately increasing the success rate of the paralysis debuff. This will actually turn into Glassification after use if the conditions are met, otherwise this will turn back to Frostblade. Now the HP attack plus variant is going to be a 2-hit Ice Melee Brave attack plus HP attack that is actually triggered twice. The Stolen Brave can overflow up to 120% of his max Brave. Now his 35 CP weapon just basically improves the Brave gain based on his attacks and extending the duration of Genocide Impetus by 2 turns. And when he's using Esoteric Region, this also extends the Esoteric Region buff by 2 turns and granting it 1 additional stack of Esoteric Region as well. Now let's talk about his additional ability called Set Genocide Impetus Attack Up. This basically grants him Genocide Impetus straight away for 4 turns and removes the Esoteric Region buff. This marginally just raises his attacks for 2 turns. And if you do decide to get the Bloomstone for him, this will increase the number of use by 1 and increasing the duration of the Set Genocide Impetus Attack Up effects by 2 turns. Okay guys, moving on, let's finally talk about his EX weapon called Divine Blade, which gives him the EX ability called Great Wheel, which is a 2-hit AoE melee brave attack plus AoE HP attack. This will increase the number of brave damage dealt to a single target and will deal 100% HP damage to all targets, and grants him the Charismatic Archduke buff for 8 turns and grants 2 additional stacks of Esoteric Region buff. When Esoteric Region is at 5 stack, this will change it to the Genocide Impetus for 6 turns. And when he has Genocide Impetus active, this will turn to the plus variant of Great Wheel, which increases its number of brave hits to 4 and tremendously increasing its total brave potency. Now Charismatic Archduke basically increases the party's max brave and their attacks as well. This has a slow recast speed, and at 1 out of 3 this will increase the brave damage dealt. At 2 out of 3 this will add a delay to the target by 1 turn, and at 3 out of 3 this will increase the recast speed of Great Wheel. Now let's talk about the plus variant of this weapon, or the realized version. At 0 out of 3, the Stolen Brave can now overflow to 120% of his max Brave and will raise his Brave based on 20% of the HP damage dealt, and moderately increasing the Brave potency, and of course increasing the Brave potency of the plus variant of Great Wheel. At 1 out of 3 limit break, this moderately increases his max brave and his attack, and at 2 out of 3, when the quest starts, he will have access to Charismatic Archduke straight away for 8 turns and will have 2 stacks of Esoteric Region buff. And at 3 out of 3, he will moderately increase his critical brave damage dealt, and When using Great Wheel or D Plus variant, this will now raise the Brave based on his attack before attacking, and slightly increasing the max Brave overflow limit, moderately increasing the total Brave potency of the Great Wheel, and D Plus variant will have a much higher increase of Brave potency as well. And the bonus sphere you're getting for this one is called Full HP Break Hit Attack Down. Basically, when your HP is max and breaking a target or attacking a broken target, this will inflict a 30% attack down debuff for 6 turns. Okay guys, so after hearing all this information regarding Kam'lanaut's abilities and of course his EX and EX Plus, how much should you be investing on Kam'lanaut? I feel like honestly 0 out of 3 is fine for him. You may not have the stacks of esoteric regions straight away, but I just feel like he's one of those characters that are really annoying to use and takes a while to ramp up, and actually will need like a perfect scenario for you to be able to use him to his full potential. Now Shantotto is like that to a certain extent, however they did fix some of her flaws. When it comes to Kam'lanaut, he doesn't have any lock system, so you will have to pray to the gods that he gets attacked, much like 8 when you're trying to get like a counter attack. When he's by himself, sure, he can be great. You can apply Adel all the time. However, just to me personally, I don't really feel like investing too much on Kam'lanaut when I know I can't use him to his full potential all the time. So going max at 2 out of 3 for me with this one, because this is where he gets his stacking mechanic. At least you will have one less turn to actually maximize his esoteric region and improve it to the impetus buff or whatever it's called. And honestly, at the 3 out of 3 isn't all that great as well, so I would really stay away from actually going 3 out of 3 with Kam'lanaut. Now, as for the closest comparison for Kam'lanaut, I can't really think of anyone that still has this kind of kit. So it is very unique in a way where he will have like debuffs, but they only last for 1 turn, and he has an aura that actually is a debuff. You can say maybe Sephiroth in a way, but Sephiroth isn't exactly like this, and I don't think it's a fair comparison, because Sephiroth himself is like just a big damage dealer, whereas Kam'lanaut does have some sort of aura going around him. So in all honesty, I can't really say, but in terms of annoyance, I would put his kit the same as annoyance as Gilgamesh, because with Gilgamesh you have to use his ability 1, you have to use his ability 2 before you get access to Wild Dance, and then they all come back to normal, which is so annoying. So I can't really compare him to anyone else. If you have anyone that comes to mind, and you know, I miss a lot of things, guys, you can leave it down in the comment section below. If there's anyone that comes to mind that has sort of a similar kit or a hybrid of this, let me know down in the comments below. Okay guys, so we're finally at the end of this video. So should you pull? The answer to this, for me at least, is a no. Nope, 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 nope. Do not pull unless, I guess, you can throw in some tickets if they're your favorites, but I really wouldn't put any gems on this particular banner. Honestly, Kam'lanaut is a very annoying character, at least just reading through it. I mean, I have no experience of using him, but looking at his kit and watching a lot of videos, he's just very annoying to pull off. And honestly, there's not a lot of videos out there, to be completely honest with you guys. But, you know, it's an annoying kit, and like I said earlier, everything needs to fall into place before you actually use him to his full potential. And like I said with 8 as well, you know, you're sort of relying being on attack, but at least with 8 he can actually fight back and do a lot of damage. Kam'lanaut will just put an Adel in. I guess it's useful, but it's only for 1 turn. I just don't find it, you know, enough reason to actually use any resources on this banner. So unfortunately for me, it's gonna be, personally for me, no, I am not gonna be pulling on this since I already have Lulu and I have Yuri as well. I don't really need Shantotto that much anymore. So yeah, it's gonna be a pass for me. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave down in the comments below if you're actually pulling for this video. Let me know if they're your favorites. Are you actually gonna just use tickets, or are you actually gonna use your gems? Let me know down there. Make sure to follow me on my social media at Munchkins Gaming. I am on Twitter and on Facebook. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.